program, system design and equipment sizing. Again, this should be roughly about a 20-minute training, and we'll just jump right into it. If you have questions on module 1 or anything else, please let me know. So just getting right in it. So common design failures that we typically see. Oversized systems. Legacy rule of thumb. I put my thumb up and that sounds about a 5-ton system. We don't want to do that, where you oversize it and start short cycling them out temperatures. The backup continues to provide most of the heating, right? So maybe we have backup electric baseboards in there, in a ductless mini split situation, or our dual fuel system. With propane, we set the balance point at 40 degrees instead of 17 or 5 degrees. We haven't talked to the homeowner about how to change that balance point. We haven't had controls placed on our baseboard thermostats. MISA is a great thermostat to add to baseboards, especially in a heat pump situation. One solution fits all thinking. Hey, I know this is a mini split. This is a mini split. Not providing options, saying, you know what? This has hot water baseboard heat. Maybe we don't need to meet the full heating load. Maybe we just put in a few mini splits to collect only 50% of the heating load, but make sure they're comfortable and cold, and air conditioned. So kind of thinking about different systems in different homes. And then one thing, it's kind of a weird one. We see some indoor head locations that they're like, too high to the ceiling, too close to the ceiling. We're not able really to mix the air. So one thing, you don't want to put them so high in the ceiling. You want to put them where they can mix in the air. Also, we see sometimes putting one head to serve an entire home. When bedroom doors get closed, air won't go into there. So we'll show you a couple drawings on that. But these are the design failures that we typically see. But this is what really matters. This is what we really want you to focus in on. I'm sure your client does too. Meeting home heating loads on the coldest days. You don't want any callbacks. We don't want callbacks on the program, because then people won't believe in heat pumps. Not providing too much heat on milder days. Again, then you have that cycling that happens. And then delivering heat to every room. Kind of what I just mentioned. You got to have, if that room is supposed to have heat, it needs either a register or it needs some sort of mini split in cassette in there to provide heat. Choose the right product for the home's needs. Okay, so that's what we're really trying to focus in on. It's common sense stuff. You guys are probably doing this in the field already. We just want to really hit the point home. So design considerations, displacement versus replacement. So when we talk about displacement, we really are just looking as part of the home that maybe there's that bedroom that's really cold over the garage, or maybe there's an office or a basement or something that they want to do. Or, maybe they do have that baseboard hot water scenario, right? That we're just going to displace some of that heat. And so we still need some sort of backup heat in there. We really need to look at that. Or we're looking at a replacement where we're changing out the entire HVAC system. Maybe we're going to still work with the ducts that are there. Or maybe we're gonna put that dual fuel situation in that home, or maybe they do have baseboard heat, and we're gonna take out most of the baseboard heat except for kind of extreme backup and placing in mini splits and cassettes into each room we want to be heated. So think about what the consumer is looking for, what they want. I know you guys already know this, but again, it's just a point of emphasis of the program. Because the end solutions are a little bit different. Maybe we could get away with a 1 or 2 head mini split system. Give them a quick rebate, quick install, get them out the door. Maybe it takes a little bit more time. We got to focus on the sizing calculations, really doing a deep dive for that replacement. And so this is sort of the word text version of what I've just talked about here. And so really kind of this is sort of what we're looking at, right? Where backup is optional, really only a mini split, as we talked about, especially climate zone 6 and 7, we probably want some sort of backup, even climate zone 5 with dual fuel systems. Important design, I talked about this, a ducted or combination system. Each and every room has some sort of heat source in it. People will be comfortable. Sometimes we've seen this, a single head placed in a living room, not going to heat those bedrooms. This is poor performance, not going to happen, not going to be good. Poor design can mean uncomfortable rooms, which means more callbacks for you. Bad for you, bad for us. So good design. I know you guys are doing it out there. Just here's some additional tools that we want you guys to use. Load calculations. What? Yeah. Load calculations are part of the program. So really, what is a load calculation? How much heat is needed What is the heating load? Is it a heating load a home? Is that full home replacement? Is it a zone? Are we just looking at one floor? Is it in a room? And these can even be conversations that you have inside the home. You know, it might be not feasible for a homeowner to put in an entire mini split system to cover their home, but we could get them down the path, say, okay, let's just tackle the first floor, or let's tackle the basement. Let's put in some mini splits there, get rid of the baseboard heat. And then next year we'll come back, or in 2 years, we'll go ahead and we'll tackle the first floor. Or we've done the first floor in the basement, and we're gonna do the second floor. So again, part of this is like understanding what the consumer is wanting and then making sure we have equipment that is sized properly for that. So again, how much is needed depending on what the solution is. What goes into that calculation, the design temperature, I'm going to talk about that. So in each area that we serve, each town has a design requirement that 99% of the heating days or 99% of the days are above that temperature. And so that's what we call our design temperature. The size of the home plays in the role of a load calculation. Insulation, what's in the walls, ceiling, floors. Remember in module 1, I talked a lot about our getting to R49 or R60. Window quantity and location. More important, I'm going to show you a slide, more important as homes get tighter than homes that aren't so tight. And building orientation actually plays. So again, the colder it is, the more heat is needed to make the home comfortable. That's the bottom line. So how do we know how much heat is needed? And that is where we do our design loads. That's where I do our manual J's. And so looking at a typical design load, Albuquerque, New Mexico, we know that 99% of the time it's going to be above 5.8 degrees Celsius. ASHRAE is in Celsius. So if you take Celsius and translate into Fahrenheit, that's about 21 degrees. So in Albuquerque, 99% of the time it will be above 21 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you look across our service area, makes kind of sense, right? Gillette, Wyoming, yeah, our design temperature is going to be -2. So 99% of the time, it's going to be above -2. This isn't wind chill. This is just pure temperature. So you might want to back that down for some wind chill. Fort Collins, it's 5 degrees. North Platte, Nebraska, it's just over 0. So can use 0. That 99% of the time, it's going to be above 0. So again, this is sort of what we're trying to get to, that 5 degrees Fahrenheit solution. You know, we're actually pretty close to serving most of the load in most of our areas at that. That's why we kind of are looking at focus at, you know, those hours. And why we're okay with a 5 degree solution, having another fuel come in below 5 degrees. How to perform a load calculation, right? So it's a standard process using energy modeling software. That's how we do it. We use software to do this. Wrightsoft Manual J is kind of the gold standard on this. But Better Built Northwest has a great sizing tool, and my favorite is CoolCalc, and we're going to do some quick ones on that. But again, these are the last two are free, and they're easy to use. It helps support the system selection and design, but the bottom line is like, look, garbage in, garbage out. Use your rules of thumb for some sanity checks, right? If it says, man, I'm in climate zone 7, and I have 5,000 square foot home and it's telling me to put in 24,000 BTUs, might want to be like, that doesn't check out. So use your knowledge in the field. Again, this is just something that we want to start to fine tune a little bit. And also if you do a home load calculation, you don't have to meet it all with a heat pump, right? You can meet 90% of it, 80% with a heat pump, and then have a propane furnace, natural gas furnace, or baseboard electric in that home, and go ahead and meet the rest of that design temperature. So whole house or block, this is heating and cooling loads for the entire home. We tend to look at this as like when no duct modifications are needed, right? So the home is just as is. We're not going to do much around it. We're not going to monkey around with things. Go ahead and do a whole house load. It will give you the correct HVAC equipment size. And if you decide that maybe we're going to mess around with the duct size or mess around with a few different things, then go ahead and do a room by room. ACA provides some tools for room to room, and it's critical in determining individual duct size and layout. So if you're doing new construction, probably want to do a room by room. In some cases, room by room makes sense on retrofits, but we can also do block loads. So you guys in the field, you guys can get a feel of what works for you. But that's where we start, is mainly with the block load, and then go room by room if necessary. Orientation does make an impact. So I just want to let you guys know that yes, orientation does matter because of solar heat gain. Not as much in northern Wyoming, but especially in Colorado and New Mexico, we have huge solar impacts, and orientation does make a big difference. And so here's just an example. This is a small home, and from looking if the home is oriented from the east side versus something northwest, there can be a 5,000 or a half ton difference in that BTU calculation, that sizing calculation. So it does play a role. I'm not saying for every house you can do a half ton difference. You really need to study it because there could be shading, there could be trees, but in an open area, there is some differences based on orientation that you should take into account. Impacts of windows. Well, the good news about windows is if a home doesn't have much insulation or is at bare minimum, maybe 2009 IECC, isn't really insulated, windows don't make that big of an impact on cooling or heating load. They do make an impact on comfort, but as a home gets improved with insulation, with air sealing, windows become more and more critical. So while we just think, it's got double pane windows or it's single pane, having those specifications will start to impact the load calculations as we move forward. One thing to remember is Manual J will tell you how much heating and cooling your system needs to provide, but doesn't tell you what size of the heating. If you remember in Module 1, we showed the differences in a 2-ton unit that vary widely after 47 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're working on today and what this module is all about is making sure we understand how much heating and cooling the house needs. The capacity in the equipment will come in the next module. So again, it's pretty basic, it's pretty straightforward. Talk to your clients about what they want in the house. Think about doing dual fuel. Think about, is it supplemental heat? Do you need backup heat? Those type of things, making sure that each home, each room that needs to be heated is heated, has some sort of heat source in it. And that doing a Manual J to tell us what size of heating or cooling equipment we do need. Again, our focus is 5 degrees Fahrenheit in a lot of cases, but we still want to be able to heat that home at -22, -30. And so getting those design parameters in there will help us make sure that everyone is in a comfortable home, which in the end will result in less callbacks. So I'm going to stop my screen here. But again, questions, here's my email, peter.russin@tristategt.org. And then I'm going to pull up a couple of those Manual J software tools online that I've talked to you about. So the first one we're going to share is the CoolCalc software. So again, this is pretty easy. It's pretty basic. You do not have to pay for it unless you actually want to get a Manual J that you're going to turn into, like, say, Pikes Peak Regional or something. They have a good video down here that you can watch and see how it works. But if I wanted to log in and go into my account, because I can do stuff, here it is. Let me go back. I've actually already logged in. Sorry about that. I'll go to the home. I'm already logged in. And I will go to run a Manual J. It's pretty basic, just so you can get a feel of it. This is the one I did before, but if I want to start a new one, I just click new. I put project name, Pete's new test 1. I'll enter a location. I'll just do 5100 Clay Street, Denver, Colorado. Okay, the map PIM looks pretty good. Well, calculation type, what am I going to do here? Block load room by room right here. You can choose in this software. I'm going to do block load just to make it easy. Construction details. Okay. Can't be before 1950. So I'm going to say this is home built in 1967. 1 story above grade. Number of bedrooms, I'll say 4. Dwelling type, I'll say it's a single family. And then in terms of condition basement, let's say it has a basement. Doesn't have a garage, no skylights. Infiltration, if someone did a blower door, great. If not, I'm just gonna say it's probably average. Fireplaces, yeah, it has a fireplace. Let's put one in there. Construction profile, frame wall, wood. Let's say it's got some siding on it. Ceiling type, yep, there's a ceiling under the attic. asphalt, I'm going to say it's a light colored asphalt shingles, and then it's over a basement. So construction group features, we can go to the next one. Okay, you can get in here, you can click on it. Let's see the above grade walls. Let's look at this. You know what? I can tell you this home, I know it. They didn't put any insulation in that home. That's it. Exterior, we're good. No board insulation done. There's nothing in those walls. But maybe they did get below grade walls, same thing. If we look at it, we can pull up, look, we go back to this. Hold on. I just messed that up. I don't know how I got to do that. But let's go back into it. Save it. And then let me go to, I did this. I'm gonna go to the construction details. Everything's already been saved. So this is nice. You can go back into it. I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. And cavity insulation, we're gonna say yes, they did do some insulation down there. Ceilings, hey, they did have some attic insulation blown into this house. I'm gonna say it's vented, no attic fan, no rain barrier, asphalt shingles. Let's say they just updated R49, we'll put R50 in there. They got a great rebate during ARA 10 years ago, and maybe they went ahead and did that. Not that I know that for a fact. Wood doors at hollow core. Well, let's just say, you know what, it's probably metal door. And I think that they did a fiberglass core. Now let's say they have an insulated core on that. Okay. And we get to the floors. We should be good here. I'm just going to look at this just to make sure. Okay, floor, basement, none. Yep, good, good, good. All right, and windows, same thing. I know this one you actually need a little bit more time. Is it clear glass? Well, I know it's a low E glass, so I'll put that in there. If you do have the values of the U value, solar heat gain, you can put those in there. Again, like I said in the prior training there, not necessarily that important until homes get to be tighter and tighter. Still like to get, if you can get that information in there, go ahead and put it in. Okay, let me go back now to dimensions. Okay. So let me go, whoop. Where did I? So we're good, floors, we're good doors. I think we're good here. And now we're done. All right, so let's do a map trace. This is the beauty of this. Let's do that. And we're gonna go start with this house. And let's see here. Let me go right here. Okay. So I know this house, ironically enough, because you might guess why. But for now, this is going to be my basic square footage that I'm going to be doing. And it's got just a full basement. And so, yep, it's actually 8 feet. It is not a full basement. In terms of like, it does stick up out of the ground a little bit. I'm going to say it's a basement. I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to do first floor. I'll start drawing. I know it's about 1,000 square feet. That makes sense. So I'll do this. Again, this is pretty basic. But I want to show you how quick and easy. You can even do this from your phone. Again, there's some other features you can put in here, but in terms of, I'll just put first, I'm going to say that room height is, did it have 9 in there? Should have had 9 in there. Okay. Start this drawing again. So sometimes when I'm talking, I can't multitask. So I sort of talk myself through that a little bit too fast. But again, this is sort of our general, again, first, let's do 8, and we'll hit OK. And that should go in there. And look, we've got this. Okay, so an HVAC system. Let's look at what we have here. Let's click it open. Are we doing something new? We're saying it's heated and cooled. We'll just say original. Yeah, it serves all project. It's ducted standards. There's some other interior design things that you can go in here. Does it have a blower motor? Does it have winter humidification? Stuff like that. Again, this try and do this fast for training. And here we go. As it starts going, yes, you'll have this that I can't actually download this report, but I can look and say, hey, 34,245 at design temperature, probably roughly 7 degrees, is what the weather station is telling us. So here, boom, 3-ton system is what I'll need at 5 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I have to look at capacity, which comes in section 2. So again, very basic, very easy. That was a quick load calculation that we can do. And next one I want to show you, that one is free. Like I said, I like it a lot. It works pretty well. I've used it for my home and others. There's a little bit more there's tutorials that you can go a little bit deeper into it. But for now, I think it's just a pretty basic one that's good to use. So with that, the next one that I do want to show you is our Better Built. And Better Built, like I said, is a good one to use. And it doesn't cost any money. It is a nice one, similar to CoolCalc, but it's also from Better Built Northwest. It's also really designed for heat pumps. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but you can log in, you can create a free account. It has some great heat pump tools in here. You can put in some different sites, some different room by room. You put in different equipment in here that you can actually say, hey, I'm going to put this type of equipment in there, and it calculates it. There's training videos on how to get started, HVAC sizing, how to enter a building, playing around with the tool, and then static pressure, which is good, right? We talk about static pressure in like 2 modules. They even have a video here that you can go ahead and learn. So with that, that's all we have on Manual J, right? So we want to do it. There's different factors that go into it. Here are the 2 softwares that are free that we would think are good and we'd accept for load calculation. If you have Wrightsoft, of course, we'd use that. And like I said, CoolCalc is pretty quick and easy. You can use it on your phone. And we did a load calculation in less than 10 minutes using that. So with that, I'm going to end this module. If you have questions, let me know. There are questions on the handout that go with this. And if you have, again, on to module 3, and we will see you there. All right.